What should have been EG's chase, rather chasing 145. Delhi made heavy meal of it, but thanks to Romwell Powell, they got home.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to yet another show of our Straight Bat with Gulf News and Mr. Cricket UAE. With me this evening, the guests are Anis Sajan, Mr. Cricket UAE himself, and AK Satish, the sports editor of Gulf News. So we are taking stock about, quite a close and, interesting game between Delhi Capitals and Kolkata Knight Riders, which saw Delhi shake off their, if I may say that both on and off the field blues to come back to winning ways. It was not a smooth win. I will ask Anis Bhai to sum up his thoughts about the game.
Thank you, Gautam. Hi, Satish, and hello to all the lovely people of Gulf News. What should have been EG's chase, rather chasing 145. Delhi made heavy meal of it, but thanks to Romwell Powell, they got home. But this could have been very, very bad had Romwell Powell got out. I know there are no ifs and buts, but these two crucial points for Delhi have brought them up. And now they are in the reckoning for the playoffs. But I'm afraid KKR have lost it.
Right. Yes, I mean, the way KKR were, those two crucial partnerships, I mean, first up between the captain and Nitish Rana, and then Rana and Rinku Singh. They came to the threshold of 150, but this wicket never held any terrors. I'll come to Satish now. I mean, we always felt it was a below par score, Satish, isn't it?
I think at least 20-25 runs, Gautam, because there was nothing on the wicket, though it was looking dry. There was nothing on the wicket, and it was even the last over when Shreyas Iyer was bowling a spinner. There was not an iota of spin at this point of time. I think the main reason for that is, I think, the constant turning and churning of the entire team, basically, especially the opening partnership. I think there are about 4 or 5 or 6 different opening partnerships in the last 8 games or 9 games. 9 games they have played so far, I think. Yeah, 9 games they must have changed about 6 times, and there was not 2 games where they have played the same partnership in the last 4 games, at least, I would say.
Yeah, I'll come back to Anis Bhai on that. I mean, Aaron Finch, he's a guy who's been there and done that. I mean, he has played in some 6 or 7 franchises. What could be the brief to him? We all know that, you have to make the most of the power play overs. But what could be the brief to him that an experienced batter like him cannot cope with it and bat a little deep? I mean, one day he got a 58 all right in the previous game. But the first game, if you remember the shot selection, it was pretty horrible again. So he wasn't of much help. I mean, they were banking a lot on him, isn't it?
You're right, Gautam. The message, if I am a captain of KKR or I am the coach of KKR, would be very simple. We are there to back you. You show it to us why you are the captain of Australia and why you have been doing so well for your country for so long. Okay, I know Aaron Finch has not done much well as far as batting is concerned for Australia, but he was the man who was the captain when Australia won the World Cup. So follow that basic things. But like Satish has hit the nail, if you watch KKR in the last 4 games, apart from the opening, every match they have been chopping and changing 3 to 4 players. That is not how a franchise works. I understand that you get anxious, you get worried when you don't win, but this is an overall of a team, not for them itself, for everybody. And if you look at in the past, whether it's a CSK and Mumbai, they don't chop and change 3-3-4-4 players every game. Good franchises take time to build, and you need to back your players whom you have given confidence. You don't back them just, you've paid them heavy money, you back them on their talent.
Another thing that is by Kuldeep Jadhav. Kuldeep seems to be proving a point every time he is coming on to bowl against KKR. I mean, today, that over, it was a bit suicidal, I would reckon, where he got both Shreyas and Andre Russell. But overall, it's been a great season of comeback for him, isn't it?
Yes, you can say that, Gautam, that especially against his franchise, this is the second time he's got 4 wickets. He probably would have got a 5-4 had he got 1 more over. But I want to see him bowling against the English batsmen. English batsmen play him very well, whether it is Johnny Bairstow, whether it is Moeen Ali, or whether I don't know there are how many of them are there. I think Livingstone is also one there, because they have been able to read him. Kuldeep Yadav is a mystery bowler who was to be a mystery bowler. He's no more. I believe he had lost his confidence. In fact, last year he got probably 1 game or 2 game, or I'm not sure he didn't even play that IPL. But the fact remains, Kuldeep Yadav, if people don't read him, he's a difficult bowler. If people read him, you can really easily take him out of the park. But I don't want to take anything away from him. He's got 16 wickets, the second highest wicket taker in this IPL. So you got to give it to him. As long as people don't read him, he's a good bowler.
I'll come to Satish. I think Umesh Jadhav, he did his bit to keep KKR in the game. I mean, he has been striking regularly in that power play. And then again, when they were looking for wickets, he came round the wicket and he was trying to think and outwit the batsman with his short stuff. What do you think about his resurgence of Umesh?
Umesh was always one of the key bowlers for India, but I think Gautam, what is happening now is there is a problem of plenty for India. So the pressure is more on the fast bowlers, especially. If A is not doing well for a couple of matches, there is somebody else. B is coming in and is doing well. So even now, if you look at the talents we have, the number of talents and people like Natarajan and all, I don't know if they will get a chance again. So maybe it was one of the reasons why that pressure took on, and then the injuries, everything took its toll on him, and then he was not able to perform. But I think this year the big difference I see is he started enjoying his bowling again, and he is bowling with the same energy and the sharp bouncers and the swing. That was like hallmark of his bowling when he was playing for India as well.
Right. Anish bhai, I remember you terming Delhi Capitals as one of the title contenders after the auction, and also early on. Now today they've got the full points, and the first leg and the second leg in a long tournament, it can always be a different ball game. But what would be the takeaway for you from this game? I mean, there wasn't much, isn't it? Despite the win, I mean, how would you reckon? Where do you see them going?
I probably rated them far too high, and I believe that they have got something. I was in fact in conversation with Shane Watson, one of the assistant coach. He says that they have got the team. It's just that the plans have to be executed. But easier said than done. On paper they look a strong side. If Warner and Prithvi Shaw give them the start, the others are not performing. Today Warner luckily stood. Otherwise it should have been a tricky chase. And thankfully Romwell Paul used his head and did not go crazy and throw his wicket away. Otherwise they would have lost this game too. The bowling attack looks good. The only thing is that they have made one of the foreign players sit out. That is Henrik Nokia. But if they have to get him, they probably have to drop either Mustafiz or Mitchell Marsh. I'm not sure whom they're going to go ahead with. But if they're going to play Mitchell Marsh as a batsman, they will have to get another batsman in Sarfaraz Khan. So I'm not sure about how they're going to go about it. But to me, Delhi Capitals have not been playing to their potential. If they play like this sloppy cricket, they will be beaten by another team.
Right. I think Yatharth is with us, the Delhi Capitals fan. Yatharth, good evening.
He just signed in and
to take on what Anish bhai has said, I think that knock against I think it was Rajasthan, right? The 36 of the last over, Powell hit about three sixes. I think that knock has given him plenty of confidence. I think you can see a lot better Powell in the next few games is what I'm thinking, because the way he is playing and the confidence he is showing, and the cool head is with the cool head is approaching the chase even at difficult times. I think we might see a better. I think that form will also help Delhi to come over these kind of hurdles at final stages.
Yeah, Yatharth is here.
Yeah, Yatharth, good evening.
I think you are on mute.
Yeah, I think you're on mute.
Yes, good evening. Yes.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Good to have you finally. We were waiting for you. Then we got started. Yes. Anyway, first up, congratulations on Delhi Capitals returning to the winning ways. So as I said initially that there were quite a few blues on and off the field. First, you've got so many COVID cases in the team. Then you've got Ricky Ponting sitting out due to isolation, and then a bit of a hard-earned win today. So how do you think they've just started the second leg of the campaign, and this is a big tournament? So where do you see your team eventually going?
Well, I mean, it's a very tricky situation to be honest. When you have got 10 teams on the ladder now, you have the equation was you need to win 5 out of 7. Now it goes to 4 out of 6. So it's a very tricky situation to be honest. And today, to be honest, the game shouldn't have went on to the 18th over, right? You have choked the opposition, you have got the early wickets, you have got dangerous. Aaron Finch out cheaply, Russell got cheaply, and then you leak so many runs. 145 shouldn't have I believe 130 could have been a way possible better score than to be restricted because we had the tails right up in front and we couldn't capitalize. There were also some tactical error which Rishabh made as a captain by probably not giving one more over to Kuldeep Yadav, who had already taken 4 wickets in his 3 overs. So that was a huge blunder. Probably over relying a bit upon a bit of Shardul Thakur as well as Lalit Yadav. You had two options of Robin Powell and Mitchell Marsh as well. You never tried them because it's a long tournament. Probably if you hopefully we don't get an injury, but if you get those two resources could have been used. And when we got such a blitz-rating start by David Warner, and then again we felt in a tricky situation where we lost a couple quick wickets, rather 3 wickets and 18 runs in the last 5 overs, and then gladfully Rowan Powell, who was riding high on confidence, took the job up and take his team part. But this is not the right way going forward. Yes, we have taken most of the boxes, but I feel that you should be more smart because this game did not require to go down till the 18th over. Your net run rate is absolutely fine, but
True,
you should
true.
avoid taking risk and taking the
True, yeah,
game down
yeah.
to the very last.
Right, right. Because see the start. I mean, normally the Delhi template so far last 2 3 seasons had been, they were on the ball initially. So by the time they were,
Exactly.
that magic figure of 14 points, they were getting it very quickly. But this time is a far trickier business. I'll come to
Exactly.
Anis Bhai before we move on to talk about tomorrow's game. And also, if anybody wants to make any point, Anis Bhai, very quickly, if you can just tell us about the prediction contest that we are running with you.
Yeah, quickly before that, Gautam, I want to talk about Rishabh Pant. As a captain,
Yes.
I'm afraid, like Yathar mentioned, last match he lost it off the field by behaving like a child. I know he's just 24 or 23, but that shouldn't have happened. Secondly, today on the field, it is easy for us now to make assumptions why Lalit Yadav bowled that over, why Kuldeep Yadav, maybe Kuldeep Yadav also could have gone. But the fact as a batsman, that is in his control. If the bowler leaks runs, it is not in his control. But as a batsman, when you know that you can't take a risk with Warner got out, this game could have been lost. One mistake by a Powell could have cost them 2 crucial points like RCB lost it. So this was the time for him to take the game deep because the run rate, Warner had already given them that cushion. So what he had to do was to go deep. It was a very loose shot and I could see in the dugout, he was sitting next to Ponting thinking, biting his nails. Ponting equally bites the nails. And he was wondering if this game slips, I'm going to get a stick from Ponting. Fortunately, he survived, but this cannot be repeated. As a captain, he has to put his hand up and score runs. And about the competition, yes, predicting the winner in this IPL is very difficult. Like we saw in yesterday's game, how the match Gujarat Titans won. But if you are good and you're spot on, you win a beautiful kit, which is a track T-shirt and a cap and a 1-year digital subscription from Gulf News.
Right. I'll come to Yathat before asking about tomorrow's game. Just a quick word from you that it was a changed lineup. Chetan Sakaria, who did the left armer, who did so well for Royals last time, he came on and he did a fair job. And then with two left armers operating, that also adds a bit of a dimension to your attack when up front. So, do you think this is the closest to a perfect lineup that you can get, or you still want to see Henrik Nokia at the expense of obviously one of the bowlers, and then compromise on the batters or all rounders?
Well, I mean, it's a very tough question to be honest. The bowling lineup, it's absolutely gun blazing. You have got lots of options, and all those options are quite amazing. Like you can also bring in Andrew Nokia, considering the fact that the opposition has more number of left-handed batsmen. Because if you look at the Delhi bowling lineup, you'll get most of left-handed bowlers. You've got Akshar Patel, you've got Kuldeep Yadav, Mustafizur Rahman, Khalil Ahmed, Chetan Sakaria. So as many as 5 bowlers were left-handed bowler. So if opposition do have extra left-handed batsmen, so you can take in a risk of dropping Mustafizur Rahman and bringing an Andret Nokia in place of him, which will give you the mixture of both. You will have a pace gun like Nokia, cutters like Shardul Thakur, and Sachin Sakar and Khalil Ahmed to swing the ball earlier on. So this would be a good bowling lineup. But on the other hand side, we still miss an Indian batter in this middle order space, because where the straight where Lalit Yadav came in, had there been some other guy, probably KS Bharat, he hasn't been given a go yet in the tournament so far. Lalit Yadav is just riding on the basis of that he can give a cushion as a bowler, but you have plenty of options. You've got Marsh, you've got Powell. So I still feel that the batting needs a little bit of strength here, because both Marsh as well as sometimes Prithvi Shaw does struggle against spinners. So probably a player like KS Bharat, who plays spin really very well, would couch the eyes of the selectors, probably Ricky Ponting as well. So this is just a little bit of concern, but I hope we get our momentum from this.
That's a very pertinent point. In fact, it was a little off the radar that KS Bharat is with Delhi. I mean, he can come in as definitely he's the right mix of playing in the domestic cricket for long enough, had been a prolific scorer. So if he comes in purely as a batter, then possibly it makes some sense. Somebody needs to play that waiting game in between, a point which Anis Bhai was also making. Anyway, we go on to tomorrow's game. So tomorrow we have got Punjab Kings and Lucknow Super Giants. Lucknow Super Giants have done very well for themselves so far. So I'll start with Anis Bhai. Punjab Kings versus Lucknow Super Kings. I mean, both, a bit of a North Indian derby essence in there. What do you think about it?
Well, Lucknow depend a lot on Rahul. The batting revolves a lot on Rahul, and he's been delivering with the bat. And Punjab is a hot and cold team. On paper, definitely Punjab looks strong as a batting unit. Lucknow has a strong bowling unit. But again, like last match, if they make sure that they get a good start, then the big boys like the Livingstone can do the, going for the big shots. It's difficult to pick. I still would go, as much as I like Punjab, I would go with Lucknow.
Lucknow. Satish, what do you feel? KL or Mayank?
I think KL has an edge because he doesn't give up so easily, Gautam. He's been getting runs. Rahul is getting runs, and I'm sure. Lucknow has got a much rounded team than Punjab. Even against Chennai, if you look at, they were literally like scampering home after such a good game as well. So I think Lucknow is much more clinical in their approach, and I would say I'll go with Lucknow as well, as Anis Bhai would say.
What's your take? Whom will you root for?
I have a very biased opinion. Probably being a DC fan, I would require a team who is below on the points to defeat the upper team. So probably, if I'm not wrong, Punjab needs to defeat Lucknow Super Giants. So I will be rooting for the Punjab Kings tomorrow.
But that will give a cushion, not give a cushion to Delhi, Yatharth. Punjab will then be on same points. Like, in fact, they'll go 2 points ahead of.
Okay. So probably both of them.
No, they'll be on
par.
Yeah. They'll be on par with Delhi.
Even Lucknow wins, they go up, but Delhi is a more. I would say that it's very, very, very tricky. It's better you win all your matches and Delhi will be through. Don't worry about other results.
Exactly.
I think it's still early to do that. And the good thing about both these new franchises are they have been managing to win from different situations. I mean, Gujarat had obviously surprised us with that, but same goes for Lucknow. So I will keep Lucknow slightly ahead in tomorrow's game. And on that note,
and Yatharth, I think Delhi is playing Lucknow next game.
Yes, exactly.
So that day you may not get Yatharth after the game. Anyway, nice to have you, even if little late. And on that note, we conclude our discussion. We'll be back tomorrow after tomorrow's game again for another round of straight bat with Mr. Cricket UAE. And
thank you.